Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q4 and FY22 earnings conference call of Kiri Industries Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during this conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star followed by 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to hand the conference over to Mr. Anuj Sonpal from Velorum Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all. My name is Anuj Sonpal from Velorum Advisors. We represent the investor relations of Kiri Industries Limited. On behalf of the company, I would like to thank you all for participating in the company's earnings conference call for the fourth quarter and financial year ended 2022. Before we begin, I'd like to mention a short cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's Concall may be forward-looking in nature. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's beliefs as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. The purpose of today's earnings call is purely to educate and bring awareness about the company's fundamental business and financial quarter under review. Now let me introduce you to the management participating with us in today's call. We have with us Mr. Manish Kiri, Managing Director, Mr. Jayesh Hirani, Senior Manager Accounts and Finance, and Mr. Suresh Gandolia, Company Secretary. Without any further delay, I request Mr. Manish Kiri to start with his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the earnings conference call for the fourth quarter and financial year ending 2022. I hope you are all keeping safe and well. Kiri Industries Limited has remained focused on its goal to achieve growth under tough business conditions and hence adapted and concentrated in penetrating global markets and retaining market share to beat economic contraction in this weakened global business environment. The company was able to attain revenue growth on sustained volumes and also improving profitability as compared to the previous financial year. On a consolidated basis, financial year ending 2022, operational revenue was 1,497 crores, which grew by 56% against the previous year, and EBITDA was 121 crore, an increase of 47% year on year, with EBITDA margin reported at 8.1%, while net profit was 53 crores, which grew by more than 100% year-on-year basis, with PAT margins standing at 3.53%. The margins were impacted due to increase in key raw material prices, power and fuel cost, freight and transportation cost during current financial year as compared to the previous year. The company has been striving to regain EBITDA margins, which is earned prior to pre-COVID times, by optimization of product mix and gradually passing over the increasing in raw material prices to its end customers. Since March 2022, the momentum of passing on the increase in prices has slowed down, since company experienced further increases in the raw materials prices in the backdrop of Russia-Ukraine war and lockdown in China after resurgence of COVID. As you may know, globally, prices of commodities have shot up and crude oil has remained volatile while upward trend. The dyes industry has been impacted, with average raw material prices having increased by 50% and cost of power and fuel have increased by 45% during FY21-22. For the fourth quarter of FY22, the consolidated operational revenues were 417 crores, the growth of 15% year-on-year basis. EBITDA reported for the quarter was 25 crore. EBITDA margin stood at 5.97% and net profit was 9.2 crore, with PAT margin 2.21%. Again, Ukraine-Russia war broke out in February 22, impacting revenue from operations in quarter 4 FY22, which were 3% lower on quarter-on-quarter basis. Spiraling of raw material costs, power and fuel prices, freight and transportation costs impacted EBITDA of Q4 FY22 negatively for both year-on-year and quarter-on-quarter basis. On a standalone basis, the operational revenue for the financial year ending 2022 was 1,137 crores, representing 65% increase year-on-year. EBITDA stood at 31 crores versus EBITDA loss of 1 crore in previous years. Net loss for the financial year after depreciation was 9.3 crores compared to the net loss of 37 crores in FY21. Operational expenses have increased during FY21-22 on account of increase in raw material cost, power and fuel cost, and especially legal expenses being incurred towards litigation of minority interest in Dystar at Singapore. In coming times, the legal expenses should reduce since the decision on the value at which the stake of the company has to be bought by Longshan is expected any time from the Supreme Court of Singapore, which is the appeal judgment. Once the decision is out, company would be paid by Longshan Group, which means Sanda, and major litigation would come to an end. For the fourth quarter, on a standalone basis, revenues from operations were approximately 328 crores, which grew by 19% year-on-year. EBITDA was 6 crores, which there was a net loss of 34 crores for the quarter. The trend line below demonstrates the path of growth in revenue. EBITDA is sluggish in Q4 FY22, mainly on account of sharp increase of 66% in raw material prices on year-on-year basis, increase of 59% in power and fuel cost, which were due to the result of Ukraine-Russia war, as I mentioned earlier, lockdown in China, and the effects which were out of control of the company. The situation today is that the manufacturing cost of raw materials for key reactive dyes, intermediates such as HSL, vinyl sulfone, in India are higher as compared to the selling prices of such materials from China. Hence, the same are being imported in higher quantities in India rather than being manufactured in India. The prices of sulfur, caustic soda, soda ash, aniline, etc. key raw materials for manufacturing of HSL and vinyl sulfone, which are two key intermediates, have increased by 22 to 27% in this quarter. Inclining manufacturing to reduce or curtail production temporarily and thereby to operate at lower capacity to absorb fixed cost. Secondly, cotton textiles are currently experiencing record high cotton prices, which has lowered the demand for reactive dyes, impacting the volume growth of reactive dyes in short term. Amid portrayal of gloomy business environment, the company is moving cautiously in short to medium term with key focus on sustaining volume growth and strengthening margin growth by optimization of product mix from its diversified product portfolio and by controlling operational cost. Company's core strength is its fully backward integrated manufacturing facilities. Secondly, the production of certain types of naphthalene and aniline-based intermediates shall support the strengthening of margins. In addition, manufacturing of dispersed dyes, which is already on stream now, shall support the company to expand its foothold and further penetrate market in near future. Lastly, the decision of Supreme Court of Singapore on the value of Dystar buyout order for the company's stake by Longshan Group is expected, which is Sanda, which is expected any time, which will allow us to take a leap forward in enhancing intrinsic value of the company and focus on sustainable, non-dilutive growth with strong focus on return on equity and free cash generation. With that, I would like to open the floor for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of B. Suresh from Buram Financials. Please go ahead.
Sir, good afternoon, sir, giving the opportunity. Sir, last quarter, I told legal issue. Can expected case expected March ending, giving the time last conference call. What is the present status and further? This is the first question. Next question is this amount actually case will declare after you will getting amount, how much time take, and you will get the amount, what is the next amount you can utilize the expansion or paying the dividends? Hello?
Yes. Thank you, Suresh, for these questions. Go ahead.
Sir, please do, sir. What is next what is the status?
Right. So let me answer your first question first. Regarding the final judgment from the Supreme Court of Singapore, we were expecting somewhere around March end, as per the earlier call, to get the judgment. Somehow it has delayed, and now it is almost end of already May ended and beginning of June.
Yes,
we expect the judgment at any day, any time. If you just to give you some more information, we were been trying to follow what are the judgments coming in Singapore Supreme Court. And last 1 week there are several judgments which have come for the cases which ended in January 2022. So sequentially also, it seems that the substantive cases are coming for judgment now. So we expect that any day or any time Supreme Court judgment should be out, and we are eagerly waiting for that. We are following up on daily basis. As soon as we receive the judgment, it would be announced. So that is your first question. To answer your second question, to when the funds would come and where the funds would be utilized. So the payment from Sanda to execute this buyout order would be due the day they receive the judgment. So then we will try to ensure that the funds come as early as possible, and Sanda honors the order, the court order, at the earliest possible. There would be a reasonable time we would give with the legal actions post the judgment is out, and then our attempt would be to have this buyout order executed at the earliest possible. But we cannot tell the definitive timeline, what kind of further legal actions that we would be taking to ensure that we have the enforcement faster. Now, regarding the utilization of funds, as I mentioned earlier, the utilization would be both for the future projects and for the future investments, which are not decided yet, not crystallized yet, and also some part to pay the dividends. So both will be there, and once the final amount is known, then at appropriate time we will also disclose the breakup after the deliberations at the board of the company. Thank you.
Sir, one doubt, sir. Actually, after the judgment, payment execution give the time Supreme Court or Sanda can decide in time frame in payment issue?
So, sorry, I couldn't understand.
Actually, judgment. Singapore government is Supreme Court is giving the judgment. After the judgment, payment time can decide the Supreme Court of Singapore and time decide to Sanda.
No. See, there is the Supreme Court is not going to stipulate any time. Okay. That means that the time is due, and the payment is due the day sender receives the judgment. So sender has to pay immediately on receipt of the judgment. So no time has been given to sender by International Court, and no time would be given to sender by Supreme Court. It has been it has been almost a year since the International Court judgment is out. It has been a year. Sender knows the amount which is to be paid, the range of amount which is to be paid, to be precise, and there is no time given for that. It is due with immediate effect to execute the buyout order with immediate effect. That is what the interpretation of order would be.
Okay, sir. Is it best wishes? You can answer that. As early as possible, you're giving judgment. Shortly will come the best wishes. Thank you, sir, for giving the opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Our next question is from Srinivas Kashyap from an investor. Please go ahead.
Given that the going concern is a concern because of huge losses, the 4 lakh odd USD loss. My second question is, any more FCCBs are pending, or FCCBs are all converted into shares now?
All are converted. No more pending.
Okay, so FC and are you in last time you said we will communicate with them soon. So are you able to communicate with them?
Communicate with whom? Sorry, couldn't understand.
Call voters and all these people. Private equity. Hello.
So whoever are the shareholders, and they participate. They also approach companies sometimes, like what you participate in the calls, like a common call, like we have today, or also sometimes individual calls or individual meetings that are being arranged. But yes, they do participate.
And my one more question is that the promoter holding is too low now after all the conversion, and more shares have been sold by you people recently. So what is like the intention of Mr. Praveen Kiri and yourself? Like you are increasing the stake, or?
Let me just clarify a few things to you, that our intention of promoter is to increase stake. Definitely, there is 100% interest to increase stake in the company, and you will see in the next future months. But number two, there was a dispute, and certain disputed shares were there. Once the disputes were addressed, the disclosure were made. None of the promoters have sold any shares. Okay, no doubt the disclosures were delayed, and the reasons were the earlier disputes on the shares. But so there is no share has been sold.
Where were this court, or was it this dispute?
What?
The disputes was where between you people on a phone call, or was it court like Ahmedabad High Court, or?
No. It's a private dispute between the people.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That Chem Hub, I asked.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, then please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. Our next question is from the line of B.P. Rajesh from Banyan Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Manishji, thank you for the opportunity. Just one clarification. On the last con call, you had mentioned that sender owes us $9 million, and that payment has been delayed for quite some time. So I did not understand, what was the reason for that $9 million payment? Is that some interest payment, or if you can just make me understand that. That's question number one.
Okay. So Rajesh, that cost award which Kiri had received, Senda filed appeal against it. Okay, and Supreme Court took little longer time to decide whether to admit or not. Correct, and then Supreme Court admitted their appeal against the cost order of 9 million, and then the Supreme Court proceedings started after that. And the hearing has been set up, hearing has been fixed on September 15th and 16th, 2022. Another thing which we have learned and just to let you know, that an assurance has been taken from Senda that as soon as the appeal judgment is out, within 21 days, Senda would need to make a payment to Kiri for the cost. So the delay is because of the appeal, and now hearing of the appeal has been fixed as on September 15 and 16, 2022.
I see. And this 21-day window is only with respect to this 9 million dispute, not the 482 million, correct? That's a separate case.
Yes. So 21 days assurance and undertaking was given by Senda for this 9 million, correct? You're right.
Understood. Okay. And then I'm just curious, back in when we had the last call, the expectation that it will come out by March. And, it has been obviously delayed much further. So what have the lawyers, your lawyers told you why there is so much of delay? Because Singapore is known to be very efficient. So that's why
you are totally right. I mean, and this has been delayed as per Singapore standard. And there are two reasons explained to us by the lawyers. Okay, number one is that overall sequentially the orders have been delayed in Singapore Supreme Court recently. So, for example, the orders which came in April were pertaining to the cases which got closed and judgments were reserved in November, December. And it is the substantive cases, I mean not the minor cases, but the substantive cases have overall delay are running overall delay at Singapore court. And the January cases, judgments have started coming in last 2 weeks, the cases which got closed in January. So that is one reason. Second reason, what lawyers explained to us, that we might expect changes in the judgment because it's a complex matter. There were a number of issues involved on the valuations. Appeal was from both the sides, not only one side. And this may not be just a dismissal of appeal. If there is a dismissal of appeal, it would not have taken this much longer time. So we might expect some substantive changes or something which would come in this judgment would be different from the international court order. That is what they are saying, and which might have taken longer time among the judges to deliberate and decide. So complexity plus delays in terms of having certain changes expectations that we have in this order, and those two are the reasons that we are experiencing this delay.
I see. So, but the most important point is what you said, that there is a systemic delay in the whole Singapore appeals court, right? That's really what I'm gathering.
So Singapore judgments, if you look at and review for last 1 month, 2 months, they are running 2-3 months delay.
Understood. Okay. Now on the business side, my question is that how much revenue did we get from the specialty intermediate side this quarter?
In fact, we got much lesser from specialty intermediate side. 1 second, I'll give you the number. 9% is like from specialty intermediates. Right. So which is some around 35 crore.
Okay, so why is it so low? And because I think last time you mentioned that your capacity utilization was around 27%. So has that gone up or down?
No. Actually, what happened is capacity utilization reduced to some extent because there is this quarter was a different quarter in which we have huge increase in the raw material cost. Further increase in the raw material cost. For example, caustic, which was 40 rupees plus, increased to almost 65 rupees, right? Similarly, soda ash, lot of other raw materials have increased and gone up substantially. So that changed the overall complexity in the sense that the sales prices, in fact, for VS and HS is reduced in this quarter instead of increasing. So on one side, there is a reverse effect of raw materials going up and the sales prices going down. The specialty intermediates also suffered in the sense of due to sharp increase in the raw materials, the demand has also shrunk. So certain product lines which we expect to utilize in last quarter, we couldn't utilize because we wanted to ensure that we sell product with certain secure margins. Unfortunately, Chinese prices became somehow more attractive in this quarter due to their basic chemicals and intermediate prices being lower compared to India prices, and that created a kind of a tough and challenging situation in this quarter, Rajesh. So we couldn't achieve what we expected to achieve in this quarter.
Understood. So would you say, Manishji, that the EBITDA margin has bottomed out in this quarter, and from here on, we can only see a trend, or do you think it will be subdued, let's say, in the current quarter and a few more quarters in this financial year?
I think the situation is such that almost 80-90% of certain intermediates products in India has reduced. Everyone has slowed down. Okay, and this is not going to resolve soon. So we are expecting that couple of quarters of this financial year are going to remain subdued. Unfortunately, that is what it seems. And this is the situation in which we are. So it is not going to come back soon. It is going to remain flat for a couple of quarters. To be cautious, Rajesh.
Okay. And then in terms of the legal expenses this quarter related to the Senda litigation, what is that amount?
Yes, now major litigation and charges are over. So from this quarter, the first quarter of this financial year, there is a reduction, and there would be continuing reduction also, because major arguments and everything is over. There are a few side cases, like one related to this cost and SIC 7, another small side case, nothing to do with the buyout order. Those are going on, but would be less cost compared to the major cost is out now. So major cost is over.
Right. But what was the number in Q4?
Q4 was
or for the last financial year, whichever is readily available with you.
Right. So Q4, when you add up the legal expenses as well as legal cost plus the value of cost, it is almost touching 10 crore. But if you look at the entire financial year, we would be crossing or touching almost 35 crore.
Okay, so 10 crores in Q4, and for the year it was 35 crores.
Correct, yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's all I had. And just a small request. Since the last call, I've been trying to arrange a meeting with you to come and see you in Ahmedabad. So, it has not been made possible somehow by Valorum folks. So can I just request you to give me your number or email ID so that I can get in touch with you to arrange the meeting?
Sure. You are most welcome. Visit our facilities. And you want to note down the ID, or you want?
Yes, please. Yeah. Whatever you can give it to me so that I can be in touch with you directly.
Okay, so Suresh.Gondalia, who is our company secretary, Suresh.Gondalia@kiriindustries.com.
Okay.
This is his and
Thank
my
you.
email ID is manish@kiriindustries.com.
Okay, that's better. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Harsh Gupta, an investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, Manish ji. Thank you so much for the opportunity and thank you to Valorem.
Yes,
My
Harsh.
question is, I hope you're doing good. My question is, on the basis of, are you saying we can expect it any time? So does that include, first question, the summer break like 24th June, or it will happen only after that? That's the first question.
Yeah, it can come in this summer break also. As you know, it is from 30th May to 24th June. And several judgments have come even our earlier times from Singapore courts during December and June. So definitely it can come in June. No bar on the judgments. There won't be any hearings taking place, but the judgments can definitely come during the summer break.
Okay, and on the complexity of the valuations being slightly rejigged based on appeals from both you and Longshan Group, the question is, just to understand, I mean, of course, that only the judges can say, but are the arguments for a larger increase from your side or a larger decrease from their side? Just to get a sense of the probabilities, what is at play here? If you could throw some color on it.
I think the entire there was a 2 days arguments and major I mean from our side the major push was to increase the valuation on certain sound points. For example, DLOM, there were quite a long arguments on DLOM. And there was a huge debate among the judges and the counsels on DLOM. Then detailed debate and arguments also took place on interest factor, because it's again a very genuine argument, because Kiri's economic interest has been suffering in Dystar from the valuation date, and transaction date is too far away from the valuation date. So genuinely Kiri has been suffering and out of pocket, not earning any return on its investment during 4 years period. And there was no earlier precedence in Singapore where the valuation date and transaction date are so far away. So again, there was a detailed discussion on that. So on increase part, I would say there were major discussions and the arguments took place, rather than the quantum of arguments on the decrease side.
Okay, that makes sense. What is the DLOM, Manish ji?
That is discount for lack of marketability. See, because Kiri is not a willing seller for the Dystar stake, right? Kiri is a forceful seller and suffered by operation from sender. So the arguments are around how you can have a forceful seller, unwilling seller should be further punished by putting discount on its stake on the value in the valuation. So that was the major argument from us. Plus there is a known buyer. In this case, it is not a free market sell. The buyer is also defined by the court, who is the majority shareholder. So it's and who is getting a control of the company. Right. So control premium and discount for lack of marketability usually cancels out with each other.
Makes sense. So on the same increase point, have legal expenses to be reimbursed been discussed as part of the judgment or as part of these arguments?
Yes. Supreme Court, whatever legal expenses which have been awarded by the court are up to the international court legal proceedings. So the cost which has been incurring from international court proceedings till the Supreme Court proceedings ended, that is to be still awarded by Supreme Court in the judgment. Yes.
Okay, and my point is, like in Indian Supreme Court, there is something called a review petition. is there any possibility of reviewing this judgment whenever it comes out by, let us say, a party which is unhappy? For example,
we have categorically asked, and it is not possible. There is no such provision there.
There is no such position. And similarly to the question by the last gentleman, you said for the smaller case of $9 million side pocket, there's a 21-day kind of lock-in. Is there a similar provision? I mean, what are the real kind of legal remedies plausibly available to you if they kind of hold up on the payment of 450 plus whatever amount is million US dollars?
See, the international court awarded this amount and decided on the valuation of the company in June 2021. Okay.
Yes.
Post that, Senda has not been able to get a stay on the enforcement and execution of that order. So technically, as we speak now, Senda has already defaulted in honoring the order for 1 year without securing a stay. Correct? Right. So they all, by the time Supreme Court judgment is out, they have passed enough time. And that is the reason that they are already at a stage where Kiri would perceive this as an intentional non-payment if they do not pay within a few weeks from the judgment of the Supreme Court. They had enough time to collect money. They are sitting on enough cash in Longshan books. There is too much cash on Dystar's books also. So their financial strength of both the companies are good, and Senda is only a vehicle. Senda is not an operational entity. It's only a vehicle and an SPV through which the investment has been made. So both the operational companies are filthy cash rich, correct? So there's no reason for them not to dishonor. So in a short time, if Kiri's if the judgment is not honored, then Kiri's option to go to the court and file for the alternate remedy and contempt of court is already there.
Okay, and the alternate remedy, just to understand, is there any precedent in Singapore?
Yes.
Jurisprudence
Alternate
auction.
Yeah, alternate remedy is to sell the company as a running business and as a going concern, and let court take charge of it.
Okay, so on that note, how has Dystar's business been doing?
Business has been doing very well. Dystar has December ended again earned more than 115 million profit after tax, even after they're taking away some money as all kinds of fees and things like that. Right. Still, Dystar had booked quite a significant profits even in December 2021.
Okay. My final question, Manishji, is the JV you have within India, Longshan and Kiri. Has there been any discussion or feelers on how will that be resolved, or that is only after this thing gets resolved?
Unfortunately, there is no discussion on that. There is no debate on that. There is no negotiations on that, and I think both the sides are waiting for Dystar to get resolved.
Okay, so, because you are controlling it effectively, even though you are the minority shareholder in that JV.
Yes, correct. Kiri is the management control of that company, and that company is operated by Kiri very professionally. That company is also doing well, and its value has also been built well all these years.
Okay. Best of luck, Manishji. Thank you once again to you and welcome.
Thank you, Harsha.
Thank you. Our next question is from Amar Goel, an investor. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Manishji, for giving us an opportunity to talk to you here. My question is regarding the promoter stake. I know you did explain a little bit on that, but I just wanted to find out what is the dispute and who is that dispute between. And for what I've seen is the promoters has offloaded some shares, which is what has been on NSE and BSE as well. Was it just the revoking of the pledge shares, or was there more to that? I think we just want some clarity on those.
Yeah, sure. The issue goes back almost 10 years, which is 2012-13. Okay. And during those times, Kiri went through financial distress. So this issue is not a recent issue, it's 10 years old issue, number one. Number two, at that time, certain lenders, one of them was, a few lenders who had given loan to the company, actually, even after that debt was paid off, right, they sold companies, promoters' shares, okay, and there was a dispute with them that they should not have sold their shares, and those shares they have to give back to promoters, right, and we didn't accept that, so we have been demanding that this has to be come back to the promoters, and it was not a part of the agreement with the promoters that they would sell the shares. And they did invoke. At that time, their intention was to put pressure on the promoters when the company was in financial trouble, correct? And with that intention, they did certain sell which they were not supposed to do, correct? So then we have been demanding and asking from them, they should put back the shares to promoters' account, buying from the market, which they didn't do for all these years. So, and then we realized that there is a mismatch, and then we have to resolve that. So that is why it was disclosed. That's the reason.
So there's no actual shares being invoked or sold in the market.
No, there is no. This issue is a dispute issue. It's an old issue. There are no shares even pledged of promoters in the market.
Okay, thank you for that explanation.
All the shares of promoters are unpledged.
Right. Are we forcing any more disputes like that? Like that's completely a surprise to everyone all of a sudden.
Yeah. No issues. Not at all. Okay.
Right. Okay. And the second question I have is about the other expenses of 77 crores. And that's a significant amount when you look at the amount of sales we did and the expenses we have. Would you provide some light on that, what those 77 crores are? I know you mentioned about the legal cost, which is about 10 crores out of that. But still there is about 67 crores in other expenses. So is there any big numbers that you can just give some light on?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost the line for the management. Please stay connected while we get them connected again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the line for the management connected. Mr. Goel, you can proceed with your question.
Yeah, sure. So I was just.
Did you hear what I said? I don't know when we got disconnected, so I'm not sure.
I don't think you started. So I think we got disconnected just from.
Oh, okay. So let me then tell you from the beginning. So the other expenses actually include the four major breakup points. Okay, heads. One is the power and fuel, and you know power has increased substantially, so that is number one. And fuel has also increased, and fuel has increased almost 3 times because the coal prices went up substantially. So power and fuel is one of them. Then it also includes the labor charges, the charges for the workers, that also included in that. It has legal expenses, I just mentioned earlier, which is close to 10 crores. And it also has all freight and transportation charges. Okay, so that is also included in that. So these are the 4 major heads. It also has maintenance expenses. It also includes the star and social welfare. It also includes the traveling expenses, all marketing expenses, all are part of other expenses.
Okay, no, that's great. Thank you for that explanation. Are we going to see any reduction in those costs? Because I think that the proportion of expenses to the sales we did is quite high. And
right.
Is it sustainable, or do we have any plans in place? Because we are living in an uncertain world. So if not Ukraine war, there might be something else in next quarter. So we can't just piggy bank on those, right? So do we have any plans for that we don't have any excuses for that?
Right. So see, we are trying to reduce our fixed cost currently, which means that we would be reducing some of our employees' costs, some of the contracts costs. So that is where we are taking steps. Legal expenses will go down anyway because major legal cases are now over, correct? So legal expenses are expected to go down. Now freight and transportation cost again basically relates to the sales. So if we have continued sales at a level, we have freight and transportation looking at the current petrol prices plus the export freights, sea freights are still continue to be higher. There are chances to reduce those. But whatever we can do at our site level, at our manufacturing level, like maintenance, we have put a huge cut on the maintenance currently. So that is also, we are trying to fix only which are essential and urgent. So we are trying our best to reduce those costs which are in our control. Legal costs will go down anyway. I'm just repeating as a summary. And freight and transportation cost again would be directly linked with the sales. The major problem with us is the sales price have not increased to the extent that the cost of increase of fuel, power, energy, along with the raw materials can be passed on. So that is where the real challenge is, how to increase sales price on those products. And meanwhile, whatever we can cut, we are cutting already at the moment.
Sure. Thank you. Just one quick question on that. Are we the competitor to Dystar anymore? Are we
no, we do not compete to Dystar because we serve and cater to different markets currently.
Right. Okay.
Right. They are at a very high-end market, while Kiri is serving at a medium or a lower-end market. So there is a market segmentation that defines the market for Dystar and market for Kiri and other producers like Kiri from India and China.
Sure. One last question on that. Are we going to see any promoters increasing their stake? Because right now what we have heard so far is it's all looking rosy pictures and the judgment might come anytime. So that gives a good indication to across the shareholders folks that
Absolutely.
things are going well.
Absolutely. Promoters are right now already working on, and promoters are trying to arrange, whatever best way they can, and doing their best, and would definitely increase their shares. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Manish.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Anurag Patil with Roha Asset Managers. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, leather and paper industry, how is the demand scenario currently?
Anuragji, leather and paper industries currently, paper industry has been on a downfall over the last few years from demand side, as far as dyes is concerned. Because less and less publications and papers are being printed, right? So if you look at the paper dye segment, which has been quite stagnant or not growing, I would say, correct? On the other end, leather is also facing a lot of challenges. So leather dyes business and leather market is also all stagnant, not growing. While if you look at the textile in general globally, is having a growth of at least 5 to 6% CAGR, which you don't see in leather and paper dyes. They are almost at the same level. But again, we don't know how the future would change, but this is what has been there since few years.
Okay, sir. And can you share the H acid and vinyl sulfone prices currently versus the last quarter average difference?
For example, last quarter average realization of vinyl sulfone was 274 rupees, while H acid was 465 rupees. That is the last quarter's realization. If I give you the number of earlier quarter realization, right? Vinyl sulfone earlier quarter realization was 312 rupees, while H acid realization was 502 rupees. So it has gone down, the average realization. On the other hand, the cost has gone up. As we speak now, VS price, vinyl sulfone price is continuing to be around 270 rupees. And H acid price is in fact reduced from 465 to 450 as we speak as on today.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. That's it from my side.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Srinivas Kashyap, an investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask about ChemHub, the Dubai subsidiary.
Right.
It's saying the CA is saying like there's a 4 lakh loss and the going concern is a problem.
Right.
So what is the loss and how is it going to go forward?
So that comes on a historical earlier losses which has been accumulated and carried forward. Okay. If you look at the operations for last at least 5 to 7 years, there is no loss on that. So what auditor has mentioned is coming out from the earlier times. And if you look at the ChemHubs as a trading company, it is not booking profit. Profit is 100% subsidiary of Kiri. And the transfer pricing have been arranged and have been in a way that the profits are being booked in a parent company in Kiri. Right? So when you look at our consolidated numbers, all the profits which has been made by ChemHub, it all comes to Kiri. But again, the operational profit has not been kept there. So standalone profit would represent the profit of that trading company also.
So now USD 4 lakh, is it Kiri has to pay ChemHub or what is the 4 lakh USD he has highlighted?
The 4 lakh USD he has highlighted was the losses incurred in the earlier earlier transactions with the
So
customer.
it has to be paid, right, from Kiri to ChemHub?
Not need to be paid, no. So when ChemHub over a period of time gradually generates profit, right, would balance out that 400,000. There is nothing to be paid from Kiri.
Okay. And what is your outlook like for this whole year, March to March? Next year, will it be like profitable? Like from 33, it is 9. So next year, same time, how much will be the profit, or will it be a loss?
See, to be honestly with you, it would be a speculation if I give you, the 1 year picture.
But can you assure at least green? Like it won't be minus.
Yes, that is what our attempt is. So if I tell you the next 6 months, so for the next 6 months, we want to ensure that we remain profitable, and that is what the target is. At whatever level we operate, at whatever cost we operate, we remain profitable for the first half of this year. That is what our target is.
Okay.
And that is what we will achieve.
And this legal expenses, you said it will reduce. So if it was 10 crores this quarter, how much it will be? And this year, how much it will reduce? 7 crores, 5 crores?
So I think it would be less than half than the yearly spending that we have been having.
So every quarter it will be just half right now?
Yeah, the current quarter it is already less than half. It would be even
and if all the cases are resolved, but if there are further appeals, will it like go further on, or you are expecting this year will be the last for all legal expenses?
See, there are no further appeals for the buyout and for the major case which we had. For other 2 side cases, appeal were already admitted, and appeal hearing dates are already fixed. All are getting completed by September 2022. So by September 22 onwards, there would be nothing. Zero.
No. How is this legal expenses done? Like every time they go and argue, you need to pay, or when you want some appeal to be done, they tell that this is the charge, or how is it? Or for the whole case, they take a amount that for this case you need to give us this amount.
No. See, the way the legal cost functions is that, you see, Kiri has appointed one of the best lawyers of Singapore, probably number 1 law firm of Singapore, okay? And that law firm's number of lawyers are involved. There is a team of at least 8 lawyers are there on board. And each lawyer's fees are charged based on the hours and timing that they spent on the cases, okay? So that ranges maybe starting from $200 Singapore dollars per hour to as high as 3,000 Singapore dollars per hour, right? So it depends on how much work has been put up, how much legal work is involved, and how much time all these different levels of lawyers are spending on all cases that are being fought there. So those are the legal expenses for the Singapore lawyers. In addition, there are Indian lawyers involved who work along with the Singapore lawyers. And Indian lawyers are based in Mumbai, named DSK Legal. So DSK Legal work hand in hand in Singapore. Again, DSK Legal work is also involved based on hourly basis, starting from a junior lawyer to their managing partner.
Why are you paying like for Indian lawyers in Mumbai? Can't you pay like directly to the Singapore people?
No, because there are 2 different law firms, right? They work together. Indian legal law firms as well work along with the Singapore law firm. They both work together on preparing drafts, preparing pleadings, right? And Indian lawyers also work with us to explain us better, to coordinate with Singapore lawyers better. They would present Kiri's interest to Singapore lawyers also, right? So that's why the two law firms are involved from day one since 2015.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of B. Suresh from Buram Financials. Please go ahead.
Thank you for giving again opportunity. Sir, this is the last question. Sir, actually, some other cases can expected September. This case, actually, Singapore court is holidays. Holidays is going on. Present going on holidays or future you can holidays. When you come holidays, sir, Singapore court?
You are talking about holidays in Singapore court, correct? If I understand correctly.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So Singapore court vacation already started from Monday, which is from May 30th, and it is till June 24. These are the exact dates for court vacation.
Okay.
Right? But during court vacation, judgments come. Judgments are announced. And judgments are disclosed. So court, during this vacation time, court hearings do not take place, but the judgments keep coming.
Okay, but holidays is not affect the judgment. Kiri judgment.
Right. So holidays affect the hearing dates. Because they don't give the hearings in holidays, but it doesn't affect the judgments.
Okay, but you can expect June ending, the month of June can colors in happy in Kiri.
Highly expecting, Suresh, highly expecting.
Okay, best of luck, sir. Thank you for giving the opportunity. Thank you. Best wishes.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Manoj Bhura with Adinath Financial Services Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Manishji, hello?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Manishji, my question is, how much legal cost we have incurred till now on the case? And what amount is expected to be recovered from Singapore, from Senda?
See, since
totality over the period of the case.
Sorry?
In totality, how much expenses we have incurred towards legal expenses in Singapore cases, and how much is the expected realization, reimbursement, order from the court?
Right. See, if you count from 2000 till now, every year we have incurred cost of around 30 to 40 crores. Okay.
Right.
So in these 7 years, we have incurred around, you can say, more than 200 crores on the legal cost.
Right.
And we have been awarded 8.11 plus, close to $9 million till now. And we will have another Supreme Court order will have another amount in it. Correct?
Right.
So let us. I am just giving you a number, without any basis. If Singapore court had another 2, 3, 4 million, right, the maximum you would be able to get back would be around close to $13-14 million.
13, 14. Is it Singapore dollar or US dollar?
Singapore dollar. So which would be less than half of what we spent.
Okay. 15 million, it is roughly around 65 crores.
65-70 crore ke aaju baju aayega, correct.
Yeah, this we are expecting to realize this financial year.
That would come as the undertaken has been taken from Senda, that within 21 days from the judgment date of the cost judgment. So if judgment hearing date, let us say, is already fixed, which is 15th, 16th of September, and after that, if the judgment comes by December, January, then it is highly possible it will be in financial year for this financial year before March 23.
That means in March 23 we will be having this windfall.
Right.
In our financial, and which translates to around 12-15 rupees EPS per year this year.
Yes, correct.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of VP Rajesh from Banyan Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks again. So Manishji, you mentioned earlier that all the FCCBs have been converted. So can you tell us the number of shares outstanding now after the entire conversion?
So total number of shares of the company is 5.18 crore.
5.18 crore. Okay.
Yes.
And the second thing is, I noticed that you paid more than 50 crores of debt. So what is the plan for this year?
Right. See, if you look at our financials last 2 quarters, we paid the quarter ending December and quarter ending March. We paid 60 crore, which was pre-settled debt, right? And another 68 crore would be paid in the next 2 quarters, which means the current quarter and the quarter after. So by September, the company's debt would be not there; it would be gone.
No, you still have 100 crores of debt, right? So if you pay 68, then there will be still some 30 crores left.
Yeah, I mean, or 30 crores. Yeah, very small amount.
Understood. Correct. Okay. But that's very good. That's very comforting that you're incrementally moving towards becoming a debt.
Yes, and we already have made plans to ensure that we fulfill our commitments before September.
Okay. And then just on the new project, when we get the money from Dystar,
Right.
You had talked about a big expansion. So that will include taking us some term loan, etc., right? Is that a reasonable assumption?
Yes, absolutely. It would be an appropriate debt equity. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, and all the best, and I look forward to meeting you.
Otherwise, I would not be able to provide you the desired, return on equity. So it has to be both.
Sure. Right. Well, thank you very much, and all the best. I hope the result from Singapore court comes sooner than later, and all the best.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Manoj Bura from Adinath Financial Services Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Manishji, can you throw some light on the composition of these FCCB persons? Who these persons are? Are they related to you in any way?
There are no FCCBs anymore, and they are not related to me. They are all shareholders.
The persons, the shareholders are there. Around 2 crore shares have been converted last year.
Yes. No relation. Not at all.
Who are the underlying beneficiaries of this share?
They are all there in the public domain. Who are the shareholders?
The same name is there, but who the ultimate beneficiary is?
That I would not be aware of.
You are not aware of?
No.
Okay. They are not related to you in any way?
No, not at all. Zero.
Not at all. And can you throw some light on the specific projects which you want to undertake once this money comes in?
Well, those projects, there are several projects that we have been studying, evaluating.
Mm-hmm.
There are a number of feasibility studies have taken place. Okay.
Right.
Across the spectrum. There's a special Kiri's team which has been working for now almost 3 years. Certain people have been on board.
Yeah.
And once we know the final amount, the Kiri's board will debate. There is a special team has been arranged, right? And there's a special committee has been formed to review the investments, and whatever Kiri's board would choose out of 10, maybe 1, 2 or 3, we will definitely inform and announce at appropriate time. But nothing crystallized yet.
You did some MOU with the government of Gujarat last year.
Correct. So those are also part of the aspirational projects.
Nothing has been crystallized. Nothing has been finalized. It will be finalized. You must have just selected some items or some particular specific projects.
Correct. So those are the intentions. Those are expression of intent. but not crystallized yet. Correct.
Do you have any proposal to buyback of shares?
We will see. That's also quite active on discussion, because as I mentioned earlier, promoter will increase their stake. We will have to increase our stake, and we are working on it. Okay. So if buyback takes place, we will not give our shares. Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Manishji. Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, I now hand the conference over to Manish Kiri for closing comments.
Thanks to all for attending today's conference call, and we'll see you next time. All the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Asian Market Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.